Well, hey everyone, it is Andrew Breault, and I'm back with another Microsoft Publisher tutorial. Since it is the last time that I'll be doing a tutorial for 2017, I've decided to go through. I needed to do a little redesign, working on a project for my wife. It's just a one-year calendar, so just a basic wall calendar that you would have on your wall somewhere in your home. And I'm going to show you how I set it up and designed it inside of Microsoft Publisher, even down to where I got my royalty-free images and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to jump into Microsoft Publisher, and we're going to go ahead and do a new blank document. And notice that I'm using a landscape document instead of a regular letter size vertical. We're going to go horizontal with this one. And I already know that I'm going to need at least 12 pages because we're doing a 12-month calendar, but we're also going to have a picture in there, so that gives us 24 pages plus a front cover. So that's 25, and of course we might throw something on the very back page. I don't know, so we'll put 26. So we've already got one. We're going to go to Insert, Page, and Insert Page again, that little tab there. And now it will give us this new dialog box that will ask us how many pages we want to put in. Now, we know we already have one page in there, so we need 25 more. And it doesn't matter if we go before the current page or after the current page because there's nothing on the page. Let's go ahead and say OK. Now, the front cover, this is going to be the front cover, page 1. And there's a reason that I did not do this in a 2-page spread. So that may be a question that comes up right away, is how come you're not doing this in a 2-page spread? And the reason is because the way Microsoft Publisher looks at a 2-page spread when you do it this way is it puts the pages side by side even though they're still landscape. It does not recognize them as being top to bottom. I'm not exactly sure why, but that's just the way it does it. So we need to do individual pages, so we're going to need to keep in mind that page 1 is our front cover, and then page 2 is actually when the calendar flips open, it's going to be the page that's on the back of the cover, which is going to be, what do you want to say, like the top? And then the page 3 is going to be where the actual calendar goes. So that being said, we're going to have two different views here. The top page is going to be a picture with maybe the previous and next month plus the whatever month we're in name. And then underneath, we've got the actual calendar or the actual days of the month and all that kind of stuff. So we could actually set up two different master pages for the month view and one for kind of the design of what it's going to look like once we put everything in. So let's go ahead and go to our master page view, and we're going to say edit master pages. And right now we're on the A master page. We'll go ahead and say add another one, and we'll make it the B master page. We'll call this one month view. Say OK. And this one, I want to rename it. Right now it's called Master Page A, and I want to call this like Picture Page. How's that? Okay, so the bind on the picture page is going to be on the bottom, so we want that to have a 1/2-inch margin. But the rest of the page can have a 1/4-inch margin. So I'm just going to grab the blue margin lines and drag them out to a 1/4 inch away from each edge. That's good for now. And then the month view is going to have a 1/2-inch margin at the top and a 1/4-inch margin around the rest of the page. This will make sense, a little more sense once we totally get into the view that we're making. All right, so in the month view, we already know, if you've watched my other tutorial on creating a calendar planner, this is like doing the month view for that. So we can actually go ahead and go to the Home tab, and we're going to add a table. It needs to be 7 7 squares wide and 5 tall. Then we're going to go ahead and drag this out. And we're actually going to need some space at the top, so for now we're just going to drag that out. Now I'm not positive, but those look like they may be perfect squares. Not positive. We're going to drop this down. Let's make this start at the 1 inch. If I can get it to stop there. There we go. That leaves us some space at the top for the days of the week. I think I need to go into the format table. There we go. Current color. I want to change that to black, and it's 0.5. I usually do like 0.75. And say OK. I'm not sure why it's only doing it to the border, so let's do that one more time. There we go. That's what we were looking for. And so this is what's going to go inside of that master. Let's go ahead and go back here to the home tab. We'll do another table that's 7 by 1. And we can go ahead and move that into place. And I'm not going to get real fancy with this while I'm doing my tutorials. I'll make mine fancy later, but usually what I do is I use really generic fonts and colors so that I don't stem your own creativity, or I don't mute your own creativity when you're going in to add different fonts and things like that. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I wanted to center those up. So now we can put in Sunday, Monday, we can go back to the home tab and we can punch these up a little bit. They do not need to stay so small. And I also think I want to go ahead and bold them. And while we're on it, we'll go over here to the fill. And we'll change it to, let's just change it to black for now, which means we also need to go to the home page and make our text white. So that's kind of what we got right now. Now remember, we're on a master page right now, so we don't want to do too much to this individual month. So that's looking pretty good for right now. What I do want to do over here is I want to insert a picture placeholder, because this is where our pictures are going to go, and I don't remember. I don't think I should do this to the master page if I remember correctly. I need to do this elsewhere. But I wanted to show you kind of like what it's going to look like. What we're going to do is have the picture is going to be down here up on the top. It's going to have the month name, and then on either side it'll have like the month before and the month from the previous month will be over here. So I wanted to go ahead and just put this in as a placeholder on the master page, and we'll delete it out here in just a minute. But for now, let's go ahead and put it in there, and I think we'll make this start at like 2 inches down the page. So that gives us 1 3/4 inches between here and the margin line. Then we'll go ahead and go back to the home page. We'll draw in a text box. And we want that to be centered up, so I will find the exact center. There it is. And we also want the text to be right in the center. And so this is where the month is going to go. So just for kicks, we'll put in January. And then we're going to punch this up to, we'll say 72 point for now. It'll probably change once we change the font later. We'll need to change the size of it. Actually, let's bump it. We'll bump it down to 48 point. And we'll put January in there. We'll go ahead and make it bold and Arial black for now. So that gives us some room to put in the previous month and the next month right up here. For that, we want to insert a table. Once again, it needs to be a 7 by 5. There we go. And, whoops, I want to actually move it, not stretch it out. We'll scrunch that down as far as it can go. And that actually looks pretty good. Let's make sure everything is centered. Whoops, we were already there. Everything is centered, and let's go ahead and put numbers in all of these boxes. We're going to move these around here in a minute anyway, so we're not too worried about this. All right, so this is just so that we can see what we're doing here. Once again, it's going to get deleted out. I'm going to bump that down. I'm going to copy this by holding Control and Shift at the same time, and then we'll click and drag. And now we need to insert another table that is 1 by 7. Okay, make this nice and small. We're going to drag it up here. Once again, I'm highlighting everything. Just click and drag, highlight across, make sure that we're centered up. And we're going to do Sunday. Let's just put an S. Sunday, Monday. And we'll make this as small as we can down this way. And we need one more text box here just above it. Draw in a text box so that we have the name of the month up here. We want to make sure that's going to fit. Try that again, Control Shift, and we're just going to drag it out. And this is actually supposed to say 2017. Whoops. And once again, we're going to bold that. Bold this one. And copying that across, Control Shift, click and drag. Okay, so that looks like it's going to work just fine. The picture will fit underneath here. We've got enough room for the month name. Now that we put that in, I'm actually going to delete out some of this, but I need to copy it over to an actual page that has this as a master first. So what we'll do is I think I'm just going to highlight everything. I'm going to hold down the Control key and we're going to unclick the days of the week. Those are the only things we don't want to copy off of this page. Control C to copy. I'm going to go ahead and close the master page. Right now it's applied to everything and we don't want that. Probably because we were working with the A master, so we want it to be none there. This is actually going to be master page A, so that's okay. Actually, let's go back into the master page real quick, edit, and once again, I'm going to highlight them, hold down Control, get rid of the days of the week so they're not being copied. But we've already copied these, so I don't need to copy them again. We're just going to hit delete and get rid of them. Close the master page. And now, with that page selected, page 2, I can paste it and everything shows back up. Now, these obviously are not correct. The numbers that we put in there are not correct. But this now gives us something to copy and paste into our other month views. And that'll make a little bit more sense here in just a minute. All right, with that done, we do need to go back into the master page. Edit. Because I forgot to get rid of this. So if we click on the picture placeholder, we can delete that out as well. All right, so let's go ahead and close that down. We're going to go to page 3 and we're going to apply the B master page. And we can do that every 2 pages, so 3, 5, 7, 9. All right, so now that we have all of our master pages are in place, we're going to go ahead and start out right here in January. So we're about to hit January. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump down to my system calendar. And I'm going to see for the month of January 2018, it looks like we've got, you know, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all the way through. And actually, we want to start in December because that's what we're putting right up here is December. And so we're starting out on the 26th of November. And then going through the 6th of January. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is going to be a 26. And just fill all of those numbers in. All right, since we're actually going to be in the month of January down here on this page, and you're going to see the December view from the day for the month before up at the top. I'm not going to put the 31st in because we're actually going to see it. We're actually going to see it right here. So I'm not going to bother with that. Sometimes that's the way the month works out. You end up with an extra row, and we don't want to have to deal with that, putting it in here. But we don't really mind for these calendars because they're just kind of a way of glancing at the previous month and see where the days landed. So we're going to go ahead and put February in place. So we're going to look at February, and it looks like that'll work out just fine. So we start out on the 28th of January right here and fill all those numbers in. All right, with this all done, one of the things I like to do is to take the numbers from the previous month, and you don't have to add those numbers. I typically do. Put them in, but I like to gray out the numbers from the previous month with like a really light gray color. So we're going to use this, what is this here? Like a 35% darker, I guess is what they call it. And I do that on anything from the previous month so we can kind of tell what those days were. Do that here and here. All right. With this all done, we've now basically got everything set that can get copied over to the next month, and we'll kind of see how that plays out as we get going. All right, so next we need to actually punch in the days for January. So let's take a look at that. Yep, so this one right here is December. Okay, so we need to actually add in a new table because this table that we did with the squares on it is actually on the master page, and so we can't edit it. We can't do anything to it because it'll change it for all of the master pages, and we don't want to do that. So we do need to insert a new table. So that's 7 by 5. And then we're just going to drag that table out until it matches the one behind it. So just grab a hold of the three little dots there. The side ones are easy because you'll actually see it bump into place. The top one's a little more tricky. And we know this is going to be a 31, and we just tab through. And then once again, well, I like to do a couple of things. One, I like to bold these numbers. Let's go back to the Home tab, and we'll bold them. And let's go ahead and make them Arial so they're a little bit more punchy. And then I'm going to take and turn the numbers that are not part of this month to that gray. So they're kind of grayed out. That's pretty much it. So now that we have this in place, we can just copy this entire table. So just click on the table anywhere. Doesn't really matter. Copy it. Jump to the next month, paste it in, and we already know that the first line is going to be the last line of the month before. So we're heading into February, so it starts out on the 28th of January. So we have 28, 29, 30, 31, and then we go in and add the days of the month for February, and that's already set. So we just need to gray these out and double check to make sure that we're correct. So this is going to be the month of February, and yes, we're good. So go ahead and go through. I would at this point go ahead and go through and add all of the days of each month. Go ahead and add all of those in, and then we'll come back later. We'll copy each one of these months for the befores and afters, and insert those into place. Put in all of the month names. For right now, I'm going to go off screen because that takes a long time. I'll just be honest with you. It takes a long time to get all that in. So I'm going to go off screen, get all of that finished, and then we'll come back at the end and I'll show you where I get all my pictures from and how we go about finishing up the design from there. So I will see you back in just a minute. Of course, through the magic of video, it will go by like that. And bam, just like that, we are back. Okay, so what I've done is I've went ahead and gone through. I put in all of the dates for each month, all the way through to the end of the year. And I have also put in the before and after and the month name for all the months as well. And the last thing I did is, you can't see it unless I hover over it, but I put a picture placeholder on every single one of the month views. So as I hover over it, you see the little picture icon shows up. And I also put one on the front cover. Now, you can either take your own photographs. So one of the great things about making your own calendar is you can take your own photographs and put in here. You can commission a photographer or hire a friend or beg a friend to take pictures for you. I've seen people do monthly calendars just of their family, and then give that out as a Christmas gift or something before the next year starts. Give that out to all their family and friends as a Christmas gift. So that's an idea. Or you can do like I did, and I went out to this website, and it is pexels.com, and it is free photos that you can use inside of personal projects that you're using for yourself. Now, if you're going to use this as a calendar that you're going to sell on Amazon, or you're going to sell it to people, I do not recommend using free stock photos. I would highly recommend that you go to a stock photo website that sells licensing for stock photos and do it that way, because you just never know with the free stock photos. You do need to like look up what their photo licensing stuff is. And so Pexels is free to use for personal. For sure, you can use it for personal use. You can use it maybe in a presentation that you are using in your business or something like that. But I'm pretty sure if you read their license agreement, you cannot sell anything with those photos on it. So be sure you look into that before you just use these. But I'm just making this one for me personally. And so I'm making a Mountains Edition calendar. So I just searched for mountains, and voila, we get all kinds of amazing pictures of different mountains. So I chose 13 photographs of mountains that I really liked and downloaded those to a folder. Now I've already numbered them to make it really easy, so I know exactly which ones I'm putting in. And so what I did, once again, I drew in a picture placeholder. So you do that by going to Insert and saying Picture Placeholder, and then you just draw it in. So I'm going to click on it, say From File, and there's my front cover. So I just click on the picture that I want and say Insert. It automatically will crop it to the exact right size, so I don't have to worry about anything. I just click off and the picture is there. So I'm just going to go through. I've got January. That's picture number 1. Whoops, double click. And it's in. February. And just do that for the whole entire file. All right, so now that I've got all of the pictures in place, so we can see I've added a picture for every single month. The last thing that I would do before printing this is I might just finish designing this cover. Maybe I think I have another file here. Let's take a look at year calendar. Here's what I originally done. 2018 calendar Mountains Edition, along with this photograph. Now I kind of really like this photograph, but I think I ended up using it on a different page. I'm not sure. But this was kind of my test calendar that I put together. And I decided to go back in and kind of completely redesign it. So I might do something like that, just put 2018 calendar across here. I can do that really simply, drawing that in. Now once again, before I print this, I'm going to go through and change up some of these fonts and make it look pretty, maybe add a little bit of color to, or change some of the colors on these bars and stuff like that. Might even change the font on the numbers, I'm not sure, but I would totally leave that up to you on yours, what you want to do there. Maybe I want to change the size of the month. Maybe there's some other embellishments or something that you want to put on there to make it look pretty. But once again, I don't want to mute your creativity or have you copy what I'm doing. The idea is to show you how to do it and then see what you come up with on your own. So that's basically it. When you go to print, there's a couple of different ways you can print this. You can print it front to back and then coil bind it across the top. And I actually, now that I'm looking at it, I kind of totally did this wrong. I need to add a 1/2 inch margin at the top of actually no, that's the January. I was thinking here. I did the front page wrong because this is actually going to flip up. So this is the bind edge across the top. So I actually need to go in and move this down. This should be down here because the bind edge is at the top. The way that I'm going to do mine is I am going to save it out to a PDF. So I would go File, Save As. I'll go ahead and put it on this PC. I would save it as a PDF. And here's the reason why. It's going to give me, all the pages in a PDF. It saves everything so that the fonts and stuff are not going to change on me. And then what I would do is I would print it like a calendar. So I'm using a production printer. So what you're about to see, unless you're on a production printer, you're not going to see some of these options. But I would go in here and I'm going to tell it that the pages are landscape, that they're flipping on this top edge. And I would put that the page size is letter, but my output size is going to be 11 by 17. And then I would show that I'm going to booklet and do a calendar type booklet, and that I'm also going to staple it on this fold. Now the particular printer I just picked doesn't have the staple unit for doing that, so I have to change the machine that I'm putting on. But as you can see, it's a calendar flip, and the machine that I printed on will double staple the center of the page and basically make it like a magazine type flip. So that's what I'm about to produce right now. I might get a chance to show you really quickly what it looks like once it's all printed, because I'm going to do a test print here in just a few minutes. So I'll be back once again through the magic of video in just a second. Well guys, here it is, the final calendar, completely printed out. As you'll see, I used 11 by 17 sheets of paper so that I could saddle stitch it in the center, just like a magazine. And that's how the front cover turned out. Those are the inside pages. As you can see, we've got month before and after the month that we're in, as well as the month layout here and a picture, and it just continues that all the way through. The last thing that I would do for this calendar is probably drill a hole or punch a hole here for hanging it, because there's going to need to be a way to hang it. Or if you plan on putting it up on a cork board or something like that, you can just use push pins to hang it up on the wall that way. Now that I'm looking at this design, if I were to put the hole down in the bottom, I would probably need to put 1/2-inch margins at the top and the bottom of each page. So I may need to go through and modify my file for that, because otherwise the hole is going to be going through, somewhere around in here. I mean, I think it'll probably be okay. I've got a hole punch, so I'm going to go ahead and try it and see how it turns out. But yeah, that is it. Guys, if you have any questions at all, please drop them in the comments down below. Once again, if you're not already following the channel, please do so. And I've got a lot of great tutorials coming out in 2018, including some custom page designs for the Happy Planner. And yeah, looking forward to what 2018 has in store. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye-bye.